Hi, thank you so much for joining me for today's tutorial on how I make my lovely cable headbands. I like to use a pure wool, however you can use any wool or yarn that you have to hand. I like to use a DK weight for this project on 4mm needles. And you'll see I've got circular needles. You don't need circulars for this project, it's just the ones I have to hand that I like to use. You can use 4mm straight needles, it's absolutely fine. You'll also need a cable needle or a stitch holder for holding your stitches for the cable, and a tapestry needle and a pair of scissors. So let's begin. So we're going to begin the project by casting on 26 stitches, and I personally like to use the long tail cast on, but of course you can use any cast on method that you prefer to use, it's absolutely fine. So we'll go ahead now and just cast on 26 stitches. Okay, so go ahead now and just check your stitches and make sure that you do have a stitch count of 26. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6. Okay, so once you're happy with your 26 stitch cast on, we can begin round 1. Now, round 1 is knit 3. And I'm going to try and do this by looking through my camera rather than looking at my work. So I hope this is going to come out okay. It's a bit fiddly for me to see, but we'll go with it. Right, so we're going to knit 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to purl 1. And now we're going to knit 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, and now the next stitch is going to be a purl stitch. So purl the next stitch. And we have 3 stitches left, and these are going to be knit stitches. So go ahead now and knit the last 3 stitches. There we go. So that's row 1 complete. Okay, so moving on to round 2 now, we begin by knitting the first 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to purl the next 18 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Now we have 4 stitches left, and these are going to be knit stitches. So go ahead and knit the last 4 stitches. Okay, now moving on to round 3, we're going to need our cable needle, or a needle that you have to hand to pop your stitches onto. Okay, so to begin round 3, we're going to knit 3. So go ahead and knit the first 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. The next stitch is a purl stitch. So go ahead and purl 1. Okay. And now the next 3 stitches are knit stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to take our cable needle and pick up the next 3 stitches onto the cable needle. Okay, and then we're going to slide them off the needle, and they will just hang on the cable needle or the needle that you have available to you to hold your stitches. Okay, and these are just going to lay in front of our work. Okay, so make sure they're at the front of your work and not the back. Okay, so your working needles will be behind the cable needle. Now we're going to knit the next 3 stitches. Okay, 1, 2 and 3. Now we're going to go back to this cable needle, picking it up as we dropped the stitches. So we don't want them twisted, so just make sure that they are laying as you took them off the needle. And now we're going to knit these 3 stitches off the cable needle. So this cable needle now just acts as our left hand needle, and just go ahead and knit these 3 stitches as you normally would. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and now we want to pick up another 3 stitches onto the cable needle, and again slide them off and just let them hang in front of our work. Okay, so and we're going to knit the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, now we're going to go back to the cable needle, making sure the stitches haven't had any twist in them. Okay, and then we're going to knit them again. Okay, so this becomes your left hand needle, and just knit them off the cable needle again. So 1, 2 and 3. There we go. So we can pop the cable needle down now because we don't need it for the rest of this row. So now we're going to go ahead and knit the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. The next stitch is a purl stitch, and the next 3 stitches are knit stitches. So go ahead and knit the last 3 stitches. Okay, and that is row 3. So turning our work now, we're going to go to row 4. So for row 4, we begin with knit 4. So go ahead and knit the first 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And now we're going to purl the next 18 stitches. Okay, so we'll go ahead and purl the next 18 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and the last one, 18. Okay, and now we are going to knit the last 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so that's row 4. So moving on now to row 5. So you can see you have something like this. You can see the cable beginning to form here. So moving on to row 5, the first 3 stitches are knit stitches. So we're going to go ahead and knit the first 3 stitches. So 1, 2 and 3. The next stitch is a purl. So go ahead and purl the next stitch. Now the next 18 stitches are knit stitches. So go ahead now and knit the next 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to purl the next stitch, and we got 3 stitches left, and these are all knit stitches. 1, 2, 3 knit stitches, and that's the end of row 5. Okay, so row 6 now begins with knit 4. So we're going to go ahead now and knit the first 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, and now we're going to purl the next 18 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Okay, and now we have 4 stitches left, and these are going to be knit stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so moving on to round 7 now, we're going to need to bring our cable needle back in, and we are going to begin with knit 3. Okay, so we go ahead now and knit the first 3 stitches. So 1, 2 and 3. The next stitch is a purl, so go ahead and purl your next stitch. Okay, now we're going to wrap the yarn back around as if we were going to knit, so it's the right way ready. And now we're going to pick up the first 3 stitches and pop them onto the cable needle, take them off, but this time instead of hanging to the front of our work, we're going to move them to the back of the work. So our needles this time are going to be in front of the cable needle, and the cable needle is going to fall to the back of our work here. Okay, so I'll just show you. So before we had the cable needle at the front, this time we need to make sure the cable needle falls at the back of our work, so our needles at all times need to be in front of the cable needle. Okay, and now we're going to knit, so making sure your yarn is on the right side from that purl, make sure you did bring it round. Okay, so now make sure if your wool is the right way here, ready to knit, we're going to knit the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2 and 3. Now we're going to go back to this cable needle and we're going to knit these 3 stitches off the cable needle. So 1, 2 and 3. Now we're going to go back and pick up another 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3, pop it onto the cable needle and again move them to the back of our work, so our needles are in front of that cable needle. Okay, and now we're going to knit the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2 and 3, and now we're going to go back to this cable needle and knit these 3 stitches off the cable needle now. Okay, so 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and again we're going to go back and pick up another 3 stitches. Okay, pull them off and make sure they hang towards the back of our work with our needles in front of that cable needle, and knit another 3 stitches. So 1, 2 and 3. Now we're going to go back to the cable needle and knit these 3 stitches off the cable needle. Okay, so go ahead now and knit those 3. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, we can pop the cable needle down now so we don't need it again for this row. Now the next stitch is a purl, so go ahead and purl the next stitch. And the next 3 stitches, the last 3 stitches are all knit stitches. So go ahead now and knit the last 3 stitches. Okay, so you have something looking like this now. You can see the cable twists coming through. Now row 8 is knit 4. So go ahead and knit the first 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now we're going to purl 18. So go ahead now, purl the next 18 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. You've got 4 stitches left and these are all knit stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. There we go. So now you have something that looks similar to this. So that is the 8-row pattern repeat. So what you need to do now is go ahead, repeat the 8 rows until your work measures 18 inches and then join me back here. Okay, so after repeating those 8 rows, I now have a length of cable that is 18 inches. So now I'm ready to cast this off. Okay, so to cast off, I am going to knit the first 2 stitches and then just bring that back stitch over the front stitch to cast off. Okay, I'm just going to repeat this all the way to the end, making sure that you keep quite a loose tension. Okay, you don't want to cast off too tightly because it will pull your work in on this edge. So just nice and loosely, just do a nice loosish cast off. Okay, when you get to the very last stitch, just leave a nice little tail for sewing the headband together. Okay, then just pull this through, pull your tail through the last stitch, and then you'll have a nice cast off edge and your yarn here ready to sew your headband together. Okay, so threading our cast off tail now, we're going to sew our headband together. So we need to make sure that the right sides are facing each other and the wrong side is facing us. And then what we're going to do is simply sew these 2 edges together. So you can use any preferred method that you like to use for sewing your headband together. How I like to do mine is I like to bring my needle through the front piece of the headband here, so this front part only, and then pull that towards me. I like to do a couple of reinforced stitches just on this corner, so I'm going to go back through both here now. Okay, and then coming back through, I'm just going to pick up the stitch on the side facing me. So I'm not going back through this side, just the front side with the needle facing me, and pull through. Okay, and then I like to go through the back only. So I'm not going through this fabric, just the back with the needle away from me. And I'm just going to continue in this backwards and forwards pattern. So the needle towards me through the front piece only. And I just find this gives a really nice join to the fabric, and then through the back only with the needle away from me. Okay, and I'm just going to continue in this pattern now, sewing all the way along. And there you have your completed cable headband. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and do subscribe to the channel, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.